Hello and welcome to Mrs. Brown's online classroom. Today we're going to take a look at how to simplify before we multiply. Multiplication, let's start off with, it's just weird. It's different than the other operations. It's the only time with fractions that when you find a common denominator, it actually makes the problem harder. In most cases, finding a common denominator helps us solve the problem or is essential to solve a problem. So when you take a look at this, there's some interesting stuff that happens with multiplication. And the main thing is, you know that a lot of times when you get the wrong answer, you forget to simplify. You actually can simplify before you multiply. And it's the only operation this works with. So if you take a look, I've got a 3 and a 9. If I have something in the numerator and something in the denominator with a common factor, remember factor is something that divides into it evenly, I can divide ahead of time. 3 and 9 have a common factor of 3. 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 9 3 times. And then I would multiply like normal. 4 times 1 is 4, and 3 times 7 is 21. Now, if I didn't simplify ahead of time, if I simply did 4 ninths times 3 sevenths, I would end up with 12 over 63. Well, both of those have a common factor of 3. So I would then have to divide by 3 afterwards. And you end up with the same answer. So in multiplication and multiplication only, you can actually simplify a common factor if there's a numerator and denominator that have that common factor beforehand. Okay? Like if I take a look at this example, you see 5 and 10 and you're like, ooh, I can simplify it. Except you can't because they're both denominators. It has to be one of each. So if I take a look, these don't have a common factor other than 1, but 4 and 10 have a common factor of 2. So I can actually simplify by 2. It doesn't matter that 2 isn't in the problem, they just have that common factor. So 2 goes into 4 twice, and 2 goes into 10 5 times, and then you can just multiply straight across. That would give you 6 25ths. If I didn't simplify by 2, I would have ended up with 12 50ths, and 12 and 50 are both even numbers, so they're both simplifiable by 2, and so I would have had to divide by 2 afterwards. Okay, one more example. In this case I did 1, this case I did 1. If there's 2, you can do 2. For instance, 5 and 15 have a common factor of 5, and 13 and 26, common factor of 13. So, 13 goes into 13 once, 13 goes into 26 twice, 5 goes into 5 once, and 5 goes into 15 3 times. And so what started out with really complicated numbers turns out to be 1/6. Okay. As you're looking at this, just keep in mind, not all multiplication fraction problems can be simplified, but if it can, you have a common factor in the numerator and denominator, you can certainly use this to assist. I hope this helps, and I'll see you next time.